Hello and welcome to Relationship Real Talk. My name is Julius Eniolu.
And I'm Mary Enyolu, and we are your hosts on the show where we talk all things relationship, always
Keeping it real.
real. And today is a really special episode because we're answering your questions. So we've asked for you to submit questions, and thank you to everyone that submitted your questions. Today we want to deal with them, and we are going to be keeping it real. So the first question we've got says, is love enough to make a relationship work? Do you believe love alone is enough to make a relationship last? If yes, why? And if no, why not?
Is love alone sufficient?
To make a relationship last? That's the question. Yeah.
My brain wants to say it isn't. Because by love, in a lot of cases, people are referring to the emotion called love. But in my spirit, love is sufficient to make the marriage work. Because love is not just an emotion.
Absolutely.
Love is bigger than we can define it, and the characters of love. If love is fully present and fully applied, it covers every areas of need in a relationship.
I absolutely agree, because yes, we say, love is not all there is, and you need respect, you need all of this, and that's true. But like you say, going to talk about love, particularly from the biblical perspective, because we're believers and so that's how we live our lives. So from the biblical perspective, the Bible actually defines love, and it says love is patient, love is kind, it is not boastful, it keeps no record of wrongs. Just say it covers such a much broader spectrum than just that feeling of emotion and the romance, which is what a lot of people refer to when they talk about love.
Absolutely.
So yes, on the very surface level, that feeling is not enough to sustain a relationship, but the love that is a choice is sufficient, because love conquers all things. So if you're willing to work on yourself to be patient, you're willing to work on yourself to be kind, you're willing to prefer the other, to be selfless in the way you deal with the other person, you're willing to let go of records of wrong, you're not boastful, you're not rejoicing, all those definitions, then I think if you do that, that absolutely is sufficient to make a relationship.
Love will help you bear with each other. Love will help you hang on when the other person is struggling. Love will keep you going through difficult times.
Absolutely.
Love is truly sufficient.
Yes.
It is.
It is. So hope that helps for whoever asked that question. But for now, we're going to move on to the next question that was submitted beforehand. And it says, so this one is a bit personal. It says, what's one relationship lesson you learned the hard way? What's one relationship lesson you learned the hard way? I'm going to let you go first.
so one from me or one from you?
Well, we'll see.
I'm sorry.
What relationship lesson did you learn the hard way? What's one relationship lesson you learned the hard way?
Working on yourself. Because it's natural. It comes natural for most people to look for the fault elsewhere. It's almost how most of us are wired.
Absolutely.
If I drop the cup, rather than admitting that I dropped the cup, I'm like, why did you put the cup there? There's always something. There's always a comeback. So it's hard, but I progressively continue to work on myself, because a better me will produce a better result as a father, as a husband, as a leader, as a pastor. So rather than hoping to improve somebody else's being, the reason I shake my head is it's not always easy, and I don't think I always do it all the time. But one of the most valuable lessons I've learned is to continue to work on myself.
Absolutely. No, that is a big one. I could mention that one as well. Because like you say, it's one that is easily made. It's a mistake that is easily made where you're always pointing the finger at the other person because you're always looking outward, isn't it? You don't look inward necessarily. So you don't see.
You're in the frame.
You're in the frame, so you can't see the picture. So you're looking at other people's frames and other people's pictures, and you're quick to point the finger at them, or you miss on the things you do. And for most of us as well, we are quick to extend grace to ourselves and judge ourselves based on our intentions. So you might say, "Oh, I didn't mean it that way." You should know, I didn't mean it that way. You misunderstood me, but you're quick to judge other people based on their actions.
Yeah.
The minute they do it, it's like I judge you, I condemn you. You did it. You did it. I saw you do it. That's it. But so we're very quick to do that. But absolutely turning inward to say, okay, what do I change? Is a powerful thing because that's the way you really implement real change. Yeah. So
growth begins with self.
Growth begins with self. Progress begins with self. Everything begins with self, to be honest. So turning it inwards is really, really powerful. I think for me, just to add to that, I would say one other relationship lesson that I had to learn, possibly the hard way, was I can't. Is it one now? Two? I'll mix two together. I can't.
You feel free to say three.
10. Yeah, that will make you happy, I'm sure. I can't expect to always have my way.
Amen.
Yes, I can't expect to always have my way and expect to have a healthy relationship at the same time. No matter how right I think I am, and I'm usually always right.
There we go.
It's not my fault, it's just the way I'm made. I'm usually always right. But even when I'm right, I need to learn that it takes two to tango, and you cannot, and I say that jokingly, of course, but you cannot always want to prove that you're right and you want to have your own way and expect that the other person you're in relationship with will always just be happy with that.
Yeah.
So you have to learn how to, pick your battles. I use battles in quotation marks, meaning it's not everything you put your foot down and say, yes, it has to be this way. Learn to just give in as well and say, okay. And then when you put your foot down, the other person knows, okay, this is really important to them because it's not, but if you put your foot down on everything, it's going to be overbearing. It's going to be like, oh, there she goes again. So
the reason I chuckled was that I don't know if it was AI or not, but this old woman was bickering on something, and the cat. It's not even a cartoon. It looks very real. The cat was looking at the old woman, and then the old woman just stopped staring at me, and then the cat went like there you go again. So that's another valuable one. Again, in life we are often too hard on ourselves. We're often too hard on ourselves, and maybe too hard on other people as well. If you've grown up a certain way all your life, you're not just going to change it overnight. But again, like we said before, growth begins with self. Just looking at yourself, asking in my line of work, there is something called audit. So that's the true state of things, not where you want to be, but where you are. Not where you've been, but where you are. Being very factual and honest, with yourself. Am I caring? Am I always assisting on my ways? Those kind of things. And be honest with yourself.
And also look at the fruit.
Yeah.
Look at the fruit. That's the thing I wanted to mention. Look at the fruit. Is it serving you? Is that way of being, that way of thinking, that way of acting, is it serving you? Is it serving the relationship? Yeah. Do you have the relationship you want? If it doesn't, so then it means something needs to change. If you don't have what you want, you need to do what you need to do to get what you want. Yeah. So what are the changes? What are the things that you can look at and you can say, this is what this is producing
Yeah,
in my life.
absolutely.
And I don't want that fruit anymore. So what other seeds do I need to start sowing so I can start to reap the harvest that I really want?
Absolutely.
Because very often we look at where we are, we look at the fruit, and we're not happy with the fruit, but then we're like, well, it is what it is.
Yeah.
This is right. But it is not what it is.
Yeah.
It is not the case of it is what it is.
you
It
have
is what
made it
you've
become.
made it. It's what
Yeah.
you made it. So our life consists of seeds and fruits.
Yeah.
Seed time and harvest time. So
If it will be it will bear that powerful insight in mind that for every fruit there is a seed.
and for every seed there is fruit.
Yeah. So if I don't like the fruit I see, don't let me insist it's the other person sowing it. Maybe I have a big part to play.
No, maybe you definitely do it. You're deceiving yourself if you think everything in your life that you're reaping right now is as a result of other people's actions.
Yeah.
Honestly, you're deceiving yourself. So you really just need to sit down and say, okay, this way of being, this attitude is not serving me.
Yeah.
You can have all the excuses, you can have all the reasons, all the things to back it up. Somebody said, the only thing worse than an excuse is a good excuse. The only thing worse than an excuse is a good excuse.
Yeah.
It's good, but it's still an excuse.
Yeah.
It's not going to get you what you want. So you have a choice to either fill your life with wonderful excuses and you feel good about the fact that you have all these wonderful excuses, or you can look and say, okay, even with all these wonderful excuses, I still don't have what I want in my life, and then start to make the changes. So
I think the problem with excuses is sometimes we don't realize it's an excuse.
we think it's a reason.
Yeah, I'll never forget, I hope this is not too much information, but I'll never forget this lady. We had a problem somewhere. This was several years ago. I don't even think we had our kids then, so this must be close to 30 years. But I remember her, and she was, so according to her, she was very tired, but she was supposed to be our hostess, looking after us. I had a problem. And then she turned around and said, in a very foul mood, in a foul way as well, I've had a very tiring day. Please, nobody should ask me any question. Well, she gave a good reason, but a terrible excuse for a bad mood, and many of us can be like that. It is what it is because of my past, because of my mother, because of my dad. Take responsibility for your life.
Absolutely.
Your
Absolutely. That word because is such a powerful word, because what you put behind the because, remember the law of cause and effect? For every cause, there's an effect. For every effect, there's a cause. So when you say because, you're saying this is what's driving my life. This is the cause of my effect. So what you put behind that word because is so important. You could either say, I can't hold a home because I come from a broken family. Or you can say, I will hold a home because I want something better for my children.
Absolutely.
So let what you want drive your choices and your decisions, not what you've had or where you're coming from. So, we could go on this forever. But, just as a bonus, I'll give you one more. I know you asked for one, but I'll give you one more. Another lesson that I've learned, and this is not just with respect to even just relationship, it's just general peace of mind, is learning to control your emotions.
What do you mean?
What do I mean? Learning to control your emotions. So our emotions are very powerful. They drive us.
That's why it's called emotion.
Gets you emotion. It's energy in motion, right?
Either positive or negative.
Positive or negative, it gets you in motion. So it either gets you to raise your voice, or it gets you to snap at someone, or it gets you to laugh or crack a joke, right? So when you're stressed, let me just use that as an example. When you're really maybe it has nothing to do with your partner. You're stressed at work, or you have so much to do, like that lady you just gave an example of. You've got so much to do. If you don't learn to control your emotions, it can begin to rule what you do and how you speak. And so you're short-tempered, you're snapping, and guess what? When you're doing that, you're now reflecting how you're feeling to your partner. And it's only a matter of time if that keeps happening. If you cannot regulate your emotions in spite of what's going on, to just say, okay, I'm just going to remain calm, to have emotional intelligence, it's only only a matter of time that the relationship is going to feel that strain.
That's right.
So if you're that kind of person that you'll quickly go off the fuse, at every point, that at some point is going to have to change.
Yeah. And the excuse of, that's how I am, is a lame excuse. I'm sorry. That's how you are. No, that's not how you are. That's how you have become. That's what you have become. And like you said earlier, what I am is serving the greater good in my life. If it isn't, maybe it's high time you traded that way of being for something superior.
Absolutely. At what point should one give up on a relationship? So that's one of the questions I would put forward. At what point should one give up on a relationship?
It is very, very complex.
Tricky.
Whatever we say, if any one of you find yourself in this kind of scenario, don't make your judgment based merely on what we say. You may need professional help. Feel free to get help. However, if there is violence, for example, or there is infidelity, and all you get is a promissory note of I will change, then you need to consider your space, if this space is good for you. If there is violence, or like I said, infidelity, abuse, God forbid there is abuse, because there are families where there are abuse in the family. The mother knows, or it could be from either, but the ones I've heard, this usually come from the father. Towards the kids, the mother knows, but she's afraid what would happen if this becomes general knowledge. So those areas are complex. Should you forgive somebody who always finds it easy to beat you? Today it could be one slap, and the next day it could be a big blow that could take your life. So on and so forth. So
I agree with you. It's a complex one. It's a complex one. There's no straight answer. There isn't any straight answer, because everybody's story is different. What people are going through is different. So for that you would need one-on-one counseling or one-on-one coaching, so that the coach or the counselor can hear your particular circumstances, your particular story, and help you. However, just on a high level, like you said, there's some indications where you might be thinking, okay, this is not a safe space for me. Anything that violates your well-being, you need to seriously consider. And the other thing, I actually wanted to backtrack for a moment and say, when we talk about relationship, obviously there are different levels of relationships. So depending on the level of relationship you have with this person, it may be easier for you to make this decision. So I'll explain what I mean. If you are in a dating relationship with this person and they're abusing you, they're beating you up, then it's easier to say I'm out than if you were married
and you've got kids, or you got properties together.
So the level of the relationship comes into play in making that choice. Having said that, so starting with, if you were not married, because married, as far as we're concerned, it's a lifelong commitment. You should be. So if you're not married, then our book, actually, we need to plug this in right now. Our book is coming up. 30 ways to divorce-proof your marriage. It's going to be dropping next week. Our book is coming out, and when it drops, you need to get that book, because the first chapter in the book says, laying the right foundation. Before you say I do, the things you need to consider. And one of the things we talk about is don't ignore the red flags. So if you're going out with someone and they slap you about sometimes, and then they go buy you perfume after, then you want to be asking yourself, is this the person I want to say I'm committing my life to, spending the rest of my life with? Right? So on a general level, things like physical abuse, even emotional abuse, to be fair, sexual abuse, definitely, irresponsibility in terms of finances, all those things, because we've had situations where people lose their home because of their spouse's irresponsibility. So all those things are serious matters. Whether it's enough to call the relationship quits will depend on what's actually going on, what the way the other person is responding, all sorts of other things come into play. That's what we would
It's very complicated.
What should a wife do when her husband constantly makes wrong decisions? This is a good one. But refuses to listen to the wife who is smart. And could make better decisions. I suppose the reason the question is phrased the way it's phrased is because usually, just generally with most cultures, it's the man that is considered to be the ultimate say. So that's where it might be difficult, where the woman is in a position to make a better decision, but then the man is always thinking like they have to make the decision. What should the woman do? So what should the wife do when her husband is constantly making wrong decisions but refuses to listen to her, even though she's smart and could make better decisions?
I'm listening with my head and I'm listening with my heart, right? So I'd be weary of the generalization that the wife is capable of making better decisions than the husband. I just be literally careful, because that's a red flag for me. I think each one of you have the capacity to make great decisions if you have all the information. However, a track record shows that the husband has made a few wrong decisions, then
I think that's what's been suggested here. Yeah.
Then you need both to sit down together, because as people of faith, we're Christians. We believe in submitting to one another. Headship in marriage is not a mark of superiority, but of a responsibility. So it is my responsibility as the head of this family to consider all angles and all information to make the right decision. So if decisions are being left to the husband because he's the head, maybe you need to discuss that and as intelligent people, and just talk things through. Pray about it. Make it known to him in a very polite way. Can't you see all the decisions you're making are horrible? That's a negative way. Honey, I don't blame you. You've made some decision and I stand by you. But I think it's time that we took a different approach to how we make decisions. I think it's very careful how you approach it.
Absolutely.
Sorry, it's important how you.
You should approach it carefully. Basically, yes. No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's highly unlikely in a relationship that one party is making all the right decisions and another party is making all the wrong decisions. Highly unlikely. However, it could be. You could have a situation where, like the question says, the man has made a lot of horrible decisions that have put the family maybe in not so great a position. So it could be financial, it could be career-wise, it could be where they live, it could be things to do with the kids, and it can be very difficult. Where as a woman you can see that, okay, this is not the right thing for us to be doing, but I'll let you go ahead. And then you go ahead, it's wrong. Okay, the next time I'll let you go ahead. You go ahead, it's wrong. Then the man now begins to, he needs to begin to reassess himself. Because what's happening there is pride, right? God brought two of you together because he said two is better than one. So if you're in that position where you're making all these decisions and they are turning round to backfire, what I would say to the man is it's time to reassess. But then the question says
just
he's
like
refusing.
Talking about,
But then the question says he's refusing to listen. So if he's refusing to listen, the question is, why is he refusing to listen? Let's not make any assumptions here. It could be pride, but it could also be the way the wife is presenting what she's saying. Like you said, if you're presenting it from a place of holier than you, condemning, you've done it wrong again, blah, 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 then chances are he will not listen. So in terms of a constructive way to approach it, this is what I would say. Yes, you can't sweep it under the carpet. as the wife, you can't sweep it under the carpet because you'll just be frustrated, and then you will just get to a point where you're like, I can't do this again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah.
So you can't sweep it under the carpet. You want to raise it, but you want to raise it in a way that is constructive, that is not putting the other person down or making them feel stupid or making them feel inadequate. And just raise it to say, and there's nothing wrong with, mentioning the other times, because sometimes you're saying something and somebody's like, why are you saying that? Why are you saying? Well, there's a reason I'm saying that. So, I think we really need to reassess the direction in which we're going. And I'll tell this might come across as sensitive, but I need you to understand where I'm coming from. I'm coming from a place of, we are in this together. We're building our lives together, and it's important that we pull our resources together. So I really think, when you want to make a decision, it's important that we both agree, because it's our lives. It's not just one person's life. So I'm just giving an example. Coming from that place, rather than ramming into their throats the fact that they've done difficult or they've made wrong decisions, it's a good thing to say, we're in this together. Let's pull our resources together. If you ever get to the place where you've tried all the right approach and the gentleman is really just being stubbornly proud, there may be situations where you put your foot down on some issues to say, sorry, I don't agree with you, I'm not doing that. It may come to that.
Gentlemen, if you're out there and you're watching this, I'd like to give you a word of insight. I, by the grace of God, have been married now for almost 30 years, and the opportunity of leading people in a local church as well. Your wife is an asset. Your wife is a blessing. She's got a prophetic edge to her. Take her words seriously. Take her instincts seriously. Listen to each other. No word is superior to the other. You're both in this together. But do not discard her voice or her views, because they could bail you out of a serious problem. So it's essential that you build together. One of you will chase 8,000, and two will put 10,000 to flight. So when you come together as a unit, you release exponential power that is able to accomplish all things.
Absolutely. That is so important. The agreement piece is so important. So when you're going off and doing your own thing without the agreement of your spouse, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Even if it was a good decision.
You're setting yourself up for failure. I mean, we've been married, like my husband said, we've been married for 30 years, and that's one of the things we've really hung on to. If he says he wants to do something and I'm not fully in agreement with it, he's not just going to say, well, tough, I'm just going to do it. He will maybe try and help me see what I'm not saying, explain a little bit more, sometimes even just give it time and then maybe revisit it again. It might just be the timing as well. Same for me. I'm not just going to go ahead and say, well, I'm just going to do it, I don't care. So that is the best approach, because both of you have something to bring. But like you already said, maybe because the man is the dominant one, is the Bible says is the head of the home, and that's true. But you need to remember your headship is a headship of responsibility, not one of lording it over everybody. And it's just wise to listen to your wife.
Absolutely,
it's just wise.
And wives, because this again is a very, very sensitive point. There are people who have great opinions, but they're very reluctant to voice it. I see that in board meetings. They become great at this. They will just be like, it's just the face that will be talking. Nobody's here to read your face or to read your mind. For goodness sake, if you've got something to say it nice and say constructively.
That's what I'm saying. Speak up.
Speak up.
Don't want the videos to get too long. We're going to wrap it up, but the next episode we're going to continue with questions and answers. So keep them coming while I give you this important information. If you're live, keep the questions coming. But like we said, our book is going to be launched next week. 30 ways to divorce-proof your marriage.
Amen.
Proven and practical strategies for a joyful and long union. this is not textbook stuff. This is real stuff. We're keeping it real. It's stuff we've learned, so we're sharing it with you. If you're not married, you need to get it.
Oh yeah.
Prepare yourself for that beautiful home you envision.
Get it for your kids. Yeah.
If you're already married, you need to get it. There'll be things you can learn from it. So thank you to everyone who subscribed. Our next target was 500. The last time I checked, I think we're just shy of 500. So if you've not yet subscribed, this is your opportunity. Partner with us, help us get to that next milestone. That would really be great. That would really be helpful to us, and we'll be grateful. But until then, this has been Mary and
Julius and Oluwagbeka,
your hosts on the Relationship Real Talk Show, where we talk all things relationship, always keeping it real. See you next time.
God bless you.